Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and we have quite a group here tonight. We've got Jay Huseman. He's going to be doing the interview with us tonight with Patrick Staropoli. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Hey, guys. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be back on the show with you.
Yes, we go back a long way with Patrick Staropoli, and I'm really looking forward to tonight's interview. Patrick raced in the ARCA Menards Series this season at Phoenix Raceway, and then now this weekend he raced out at Martinsville Speedway in the Truck Series as well as in the Xfinity Series. Second race for you in the Truck Series, Patrick, and was it the first time you raced in the Xfinity Series?
Yep, it was Xfinity debut, first race ever. Drove for Sam Hunt Racing this past weekend, and then second ever truck race. I was driving for Bruce Cook and Cook Racing Technologies. So double header, one of my favorite tracks that I've never been able to race at, Martinsville Speedway. So, I mean, the whole deal this season has been a dream come true to really get a big shot at some of these national level NASCAR series. And I had a ton of fun this past weekend.
Oh, I bet you did. But you also raced out at Phoenix Raceway in the ARCA Menards Series with one of the premier teams in the ARCA Menards Series, Venturini Motorsports, out of Chicago. So really excited to see you racing with them.
Yeah, also a huge opportunity. I mean, that was the first race we did this season. I have 5 total races with Venturini, and whenever you think of the juggernauts of the ARCA Menards Series, Venturini's right at the top of the list. So this whole deal, is all Toyota teams. It's a big effort between these 3 different groups to get me as much on-track time as I can this year, a combination of the 3 different series. And Phoenix was also a very exciting and eventful race. No practice, no qualifying. We started straight up, drove through the field, got spun out by my teammate, drove back through the field. And then we were in 5th place with 1 lap left, and we had to come down pit road because the window net decided to unhinge itself. So we had a great out there. And then ended up 8th. So, I mean, all the races so far this year, they've been more exciting than I would have anticipated, but it's also been a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. But just for those fans that may not know Patrick Staropoli, I want to do a little bit of let's get to know you segment here. And a lot of people, well, we go way back. I know you won the Peak Stock Car Challenge that Michael Waltrip did, and you beat up drivers like Chase Briscoe for that honor, which was pretty cool at the time. But we go back quite a ways with Patrick Staropoli. But one of the things, well, there's so many things that are interesting about Patrick, but one is that he's a second generation driver.
Yeah.
So tell us about your dad.
Yes, I come from a family of race car drivers. Actually, 3rd generation. My grandpa raced New York and upstate, that area back in the 50s and 60s. My dad raced in South Florida in the 80s and 90s. Racing street stocks and late models, mostly at Hialeah Speedway. So that's where I basically grew up. I went to my first race when I was 6 months old and spent every Saturday night at the track with my dad. Him and my grandpa were car mechanics for a living. So I'd work on the race cars and the customer cars with them during the week. And that's how I learned everything about cars that I know. And then we go racing on the weekend. And it was my dad's biggest supporter. I got the spot for him a little bit. I was the only kid in the stands with a radio headset on, spotting for a late model driver. But that's what basically instilled my love for the sport was hanging out with my dad and my grandfather. And my grandfather's passed away now, unfortunately, but my dad is still a huge part of my racing, comes to every single race. When I go home, we work on the late model together and go racing together. And it's really cool to have that close of a relationship with my dad and be able to share something that we both love together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I recently watched your video that you put together for the Peak Stock Car Challenge. That was pretty creative what you did.
Thank you very much. My sister actually filmed that. I mean, I was home. That was about a year into medical school, which is another interesting backstory about me. But we saw the commercial on TV. It was, Michael Waltrip and Danica Patrick, and they were like, "Do you want to be the next Michael Waltrip Racing development driver? Put a video on YouTube, and if you get enough votes or enough interest, you can come be in this contest." And me and my sister were just sitting around bored. I was home for winter break, and I was like, all right, man, let's do it. We'll see if we get a video that catches their eye. And fortunately, my story did, and I got my foot in the door with that competition, and the rest has kind of been history from there. So yeah, you can check it out. That video, I think, is still on my website, patrickstaropoli.com.
Yes, it is. And it is really creative. I really enjoyed it. And then also you mentioned the other thing that is very interesting about Patrick Staropoli is that you are Dr. Patrick Staropoli. So how does a race car driver, third generation race car driver, decide that he's going to go to Harvard and graduate from Harvard and then become a surgical retinal specialist?
It's a very good question. It's one I get asked a lot. I mean, the deal I had with my parents, I mean, just like any, major sport you want to make it to the top of, it's very hard to make it professionally as an athlete in any field. And so the deal I had when I started racing with my parents, my sponsors, my car owners over the years is that I had to take school seriously, take my education seriously, and have something that would be able to provide for me and my family in the future. And so I really wanted to race. So I took school very seriously and did well all through grade school, became the first person in my family to go to college. Went to Harvard for undergrad, and I actually started out in mechanical engineering. I thought I wanted to be an engineer on a race team. And the classes that I took, they overlapped with a lot of my friends that were planning to go to medical school. And I was like, man, I could take like these same skills and the science and use it and apply it to helping people. And so I kind of had a shift about halfway through college. I switched my major to neurobiology, started taking all the rest of the pre-med classes, and decided to go into medicine. So it's kind of a unique pathway to getting there. Ophthalmology is a really interesting field. I mean, in med school, you do a little bit of everything, and I was interested in all of it. But I thought the surgeries that we do to save people from blindness, restore their vision. I'm a very visual person. I mean, anyone who likes race cars or cars in general or racing, you're visual. You love the way the cars look going around the track, and having really crisp, clear vision to kind of, enjoy the world the way we see it. It's super important to me. So I wanted to be able to, help preserve vision and help people who have, different kinds of diseases that can affect their quality of life. And so I knew this was the right field for me. And luckily I've had people my whole life who've supported my racing habit and who've been able to keep me in the seat. And I've been able to juggle both. And this year is probably the biggest juggling act I've ever had, but I have a great team of people around me who are helping me do it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I've already made up my mind, Patrick, if I ever need surgery, retinal surgery, I know which doctor I'm going to visit.
I hope you never do it, but if you do, yes, call me.
Okay. Now, I think we've done a pretty good job. Is there anything else that people need to know about Patrick Staropoli that maybe they don't, Dr. Patrick Staropoli, that maybe they didn't know before?
No, I think Patrick's fine. Would be the main thing. When I'm at the racetrack, I got the racing hat on, focused on making that car go fast. So I think that it's been a while since I've been able to compete on the national NASCAR levels, and I say the biggest thing for any aspiring racers or even racers who are a little bit on the older side like me now is to never give up. We mentioned before we came on air, I've been talking to you since before the Peak Stock Car Dream Challenge, and I was just racing late models in Florida. And that's all I've been doing for the past 9 or 10 years now, since I had my first opportunity with MWR. And fortunately, this big opportunity came along this year where I'm getting to compete in the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. And I never thought I'd get to do that once, let alone do it again. And I think the biggest thing is just never give up and always be passionate about what you want to pursue in life.
Well, in case you can't tell, I'm super excited for you, Patrick.
Thank you.
We've been doing this since I think we started in November of 2011. Mm-hmm. And the 2012 season was our first full-time season. So we've been doing this for quite a while. Now, I know Jay has some questions for you as well, and those center more around the racing that you've been doing here recently. So, Jay?
All right. Well, first off, Patrick, believe it or not, just in your intro there, you made me an even bigger fan when you said you come from the street stock lineage. From the dirt track side, I was big with working with the street stock. So I was like, oh, that's even cool. Add to the list of good things about you from my perspective. But
Man.
I've been back and forth of which question to start with. And I'm going to start with, you mentioned it. And yeah, you were more of a racer that became a doctor, but I know on the track, you're a competitor. That's how you're seen, and that's what you are. But off of the track, then, do you feel a sense of respect, though, as a doctor? A lot of them are purely just racers. And I think back in the day, they were moonshine drivers. They started racing. You had somebody like Alan Kawicki that came in as an engineer, which was one of the first. So now it's common to be an engineer, but to have very limited number of doctors that are out there racing. When you're outside just in the garage area, do you feel that respect of that you are different? I mean, at another level, and it comes to that.
That's a really good question, actually. I do feel like, I mean, just like in interviews like this where someone's, don't know whether to call you doctor or not. And when I'm at the racetrack, I'm just Patrick. And like you said, race car driver first. And then fortunately, this beautiful other career has taken off for me in medicine. But I do think, being in the sport, leaving, and then coming back, and then now having, a full-time career as a physician, I think people kind of respect that process and like the time and determination it takes to have a career in medicine like that. It's different than coming in. Some of these drivers that were raised to be race car drivers have never had like another job in life, and kind of a different approach to mentoring those drivers and teaching them. And I think my second entrance into the sport now, when I interact with people, it's a little bit more of a maturity level, I guess, that or respect that you have for one another, because you have had real jobs and been through some tough stuff in life to get to where you're at. So it is interesting. I feel like the mentoring, working with my team, working with, car owners and crew chiefs and stuff, the conversations are a little bit different than when I was younger and earlier on in the sport. So it is interesting.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely, and I know I said it, once you put the helmet on, you ain't nobody, you a competitor, and that's it. They may not even know your name, but that's part of racing, right?
100%, man. Yeah. As soon as that helmet goes on and the green drop, what was the slogan that Winston used to have? When the green drops, the bull stops. Like that's the deal, man. That hasn't changed for any race car drivers. You go out there, you want to be as aggressive as you can, take advantage of every opportunity and win. So it's the same as it's always been.
Now, I know you said that the 10-year gap of you were focused obviously on school and everything, but with coming back I'm sure just excited for this opportunity. It may have been a take it or leave it, whatever you could get. But you mentioned it, and I think that kind of partially answered it. Putting the schedule together for what you were going to do, was it based off of sponsors' wants, the teams need to fill certain races where you wanted to race or were good at, or how were the tracks kind of picked and worked out?
That's a good question. There's a lot that goes into it logistically. I'd say a lot of it comes down to the teams. So, I mean, we're running partial schedules for all these teams that I'm driving for. They have other drivers that they're working with throughout the year. So certain races just work better for them. You don't ever want to put anybody in a situation where they're overloaded and can't put 100% effort into what you're doing. So I had a preference, obviously, for sticking with some of the shorter tracks. I felt like, my background, it would make me better able to succeed at those. I don't think I have any business, running road courses right now. Haven't done that ever before. Okay. So you want to set yourself up for success as much as possible and kind of grow into that other stuff. And then the teams, when they have more availability and more resources that they can put into a single race, those were other ones that we had circled. So it was just a conversation among everybody. I really have to thank Sam Hunt, obviously, who I'm driving for on the Xfinity side. He sort of helped orchestrate all of this between himself and Bruce Cook and Billy Venturini to put together a program that would make sense. Being out of the sport for a while, my license level, I have to kind of keep working my way back up to where I'm approved for all tracks, 1.5 miles and super speedways. And so we thought that the schedule that they came up with would be the most direct path to making that happen. And that's all of, Sam's input into the project. So him and his entire team has been very helpful in trying to make this as successful as possible. And I owe a lot to him for that.
All right. Well, that's info I don't know about Sharon, but I didn't have. So again, that adds to my appreciation for Sam Hunt, that he's one that's been the driving force behind it. I didn't know if it was 3 separate deals, or like you said, he kind of helped orchestrate all of it. So big shout out to Sam Hunt there. My final question before I turn it back over to Sharon is the one where I, believe it or not, I had to tell the doctor to hush. He wanted to answer the question before I asked it, but you obviously were excited about Martinsville. I'll let you talk through the weekend, but just to start with, going in, having been out, only your second Truck Series start and then your first Xfinity starts, what were your expectations? And then were they met or exceeded, and walk through that? But I kind of wanted to just hear on what you were expecting going in, and now having been through the ringer, because it was Martinsville, obviously, but coming out, how you did and whatnot, and then now what your expectations are moving forward as well.
Yeah, the expectation, I knew it was going to be tough. The way the series are set up now with limited practice, you don't really get as much seat time at any of these tracks as you used to. I've never run Martinsville, even in a late model. And then obviously having been out of the truck and never being in an Xfinity car, I knew that there would be a lot on the fly that I would have to learn the day of. I thought that it was a big goal, or a lofty one, to try to finish, on the lead lap and top 15 in both races. I thought would have been great. We came close to doing both of those things. So the truck race, we struggled with some electrical issues and brake issues with the truck, but eventually got them fixed before and during the course of the race. I think I was in 15th on the last restart, and they called me for pulling out just by a smidge right at the start line. So we had to go to the tail end of the longest line, and then it ended up 20th in that race, but finished on the lead lap, not much damage on the truck, and got my laps in for Saturday. Saturday, we started pretty far in the back. We were 33rd, went a lap down early, worked on the car, got back on the lead lap, and then fought my way all the way up to 10th. So I was sitting 10th on that last green, white checkered restart, and got turned into the fence right at the flag stand. Bounced off of it, kept going. That kind of got cut out of the replays because of all the drama that happened at the front of the pack, but I ended up 16th in that race. Again, still on the lead lap, got all the experience I could out of it. So I think we shot high, got really close to the goals. I think I earned some respect from the people that I was racing around. Obviously, someone new that comes into the series, kind of like a bull in a china shop, and I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. And overall, it was a good weekend. Team was happy. I was overall happy with performance, and now we have something to build on going forward.
Well, and I got to say that of playing off your name, I was kind of glad to see you weren't the star of the show of, hey, we got another guy that brought out all these cautions. As a whole, you weren't involved in a lot of that until the very end. And I told Sharon that. I said I didn't know exactly where he finished. I knew you were around 10th and had a shot at a top 10. I said I didn't know how far back you finished. I saw where you got bounced up, and then they focused on the pile, and that you had gotten by it, but where you were in the final rundown. And that's what I wanted to know. Sharon and I were talking about it. We felt like you did a great job. Again, it is Martinsville, coming out of there with a vehicle and not on a hook. Some days that isn't a win in itself, as we saw. So great job. And again, I want to echo then, shout out to Sam Hunt and Sam Hunt Racing, not just for the ride in the Xfinity, but helping you put this all together. And hopefully we see more of it.
Yes, indeed. Not to mention Venturini Motorsports and Cook Racing Technologies as well. So, Patrick, I noticed too, you missed some big ones too. There were a few incidences where I was like, oh, is he going to make it? And you did. And I was definitely watching. So take us through some of your thoughts about the race itself in some of those close calls. It's interesting. You mentioned going just slightly below the line. Joe Logano was one of the race announcers, and he said, oh, he did what I did a few weeks ago, and he got caught for it just like I did. Yep. So, yeah, it doesn't take much.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I know everyone knows the restart rules, and they tell you them in the driver's meeting and everything. I thought that I started to kind of fade low right at the finish line. And from talking to, officials and stuff later on, it sounded like it was a really close call or a toss up in the booth when they were deciding to. It's not even to necessarily gain an advantage on the guys in front of you, but if you don't do that, the guy behind you with a run is going to try to dive bomb you. So it's as much about, defensive as offensive, and kind of got snookered there a little bit into doing it. Otherwise, I thought we had a strong run going in the truck. It was a lot of fun. These races are longer than what I'm used to running. We're usually running 50 or 100 lap races on a short track with the supers, and you have multiple pit stops, which I hadn't really had to do a live pit stop in many years now. So had to get used to that. But you have time to work on the truck and the Xfinity car. You can make it better. I thought we made both vehicles a lot better than how we started the race. So there's a lot more that goes into these races than what I'm used to. And I love, every aspect of it. The cars, they take a lot of finesse to drive. They're not glued to the track like a super late model. So people ask me what it feels like. It's kind of like driving around a giant bathtub around the racetrack full of water, and you're trying not to spill it. I mean, that's how you have to kind of take care of the tires on those things. It's really easy to overwork any corner of the car, and you piss a tire off, and then several laps before the grip comes back. So I thought it was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing more races.
Well, and that I'm going to take you there next, because you mentioned very little practice opportunity and not really raced these tracks before. You've got Talladega coming up. That's got to be the biggest track you've ever raced. What have you had to do in order to prepare and qualify to race on a track like Talladega?
Yeah, Talladega is going to be exciting. So I did get to do the ARCA race at Daytona, I think back in 2014 or 2015. That's been my only super speedway experience so far. But having that under my belt, I was able to, have Talladega on the schedule. Obviously a whole different animal, bigger track. Usually you're more, stuff together in the pack even than you are at Daytona. But a lot of it's just, going back and looking at old tape and how, races were won and how people draft with each other over the years. The body styles in the ARCA series change, and the way that you want to push somebody more effectively can be different. So I'm still brushing up on all of that. We have a lot of racing coming up this next month.
Yes.
That I'm excited about. We're going to do the truck again at Bristol in 2 weeks. Then
I was going to ask you about that. Okay.
Yeah, ARCA at Rockingham after that, which is a bucket list item to go race there, and then right after that's Talladega. So it's a lot of prep back to back to get ready for different divisions and different tracks, but I'm ready for it.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was going to be the spring Bristol race or if it was going to be the summer Bristol race, but you answered that question, so that's really good. And Charlotte is on that list as well, right?
Yep, Charlotte's on that list. I think that's in May, or I believe. So we got Charlotte on there. So get some 1.5 mile experience. So yeah, I mean, all these places I've never raced at before, so it's going to be fun. I mean, you grow up, anyone who loves the sport. I mean, you play video games. I've played NASCAR on PlayStation 2 since I was 8 years old, and you have a million laps at these joints. And then when you go to them in real life, it just feels fake. I mean, this past weekend, the whole experience being at Martinsville felt like I was living someone else's life, but it was super cool to get to experience it and do it. It's what you grew up dreaming about.
Absolutely. I can only imagine that. I always say I'm going to die and come back as a race car driver.
There we go.
I have ridden in the pace car a few times around the track, but it's not near as fast enough.
Yeah,
I want to go faster.
We got to get you in a 2-seater or something like that and take you around in a real race car.
There you go. I'm sure I'll have a different perspective afterwards. But now you've got a race coming up at Kansas as well. Is that in the trucks or the Xfinity?
So the Kansas race, that's going to be with Bruce Cook in the ARCA series. That's one of the ARCA races.
Okay.
That'll be with him. And I think that one, I want to say, is right before Charlotte. So that'll be a great way to get used to 1.5 miles. And then I think we go to Charlotte with Venturini. So, but kind of back-to-back experience there.
Oh, okay. Any more in the truck? You've got more races coming up, though, in the Xfinity and Truck Series too, right?
So the truck series, the next one's going to be Bristol in 2 weeks. And then we are looking at doing Richmond and then Martinsville later on in the year with the truck series. And then the Xfinity stuff, there are more races pending, but don't have official announcement on that yet, but we're working on it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have to stay in touch, Patrick.
Yes, 100%. So, you know, I keep you posted on everything.
You do, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yep.
So I think we've covered quite a bit here. You got that 16th place finish in the Xfinity Series, the 20th place finish in the Truck Series, an 8th place finish in Phoenix. Which of these tracks that we've talked about are going to be the most challenging for you, and which ones are going to be the ones that you've got circled that you think you might be able to break that top 10?
It's a really good question. I think the most challenging is going to be the 1.5 mile stuff, particularly looking at Kansas, the way that it's been the last couple of years with the groove moving around so much, and not necessarily have to do it in the ARCA car, but you know, running the wall. I think whenever I get to that point when you're in a series where the groove moves up that far, is a really unique skill. Obviously, you watched everyone trying to do it at Homestead a couple weeks ago, and it's difficult to master, and it's not something you learn running short tracks hardly anywhere. So I think that's probably the biggest learning curve track wise. Super speedway stuff, obviously there's a lot of intricacies to it. I want to say it, you know, a big part of it's skill, but also a big chunk of it is luck. So just kind of getting used to that again will be fun. And then I think obviously the short track stuff is what I'm most used to. I've raced Bristol before, so I am looking forward to going back. And that's one of the places where I had some seat time. So, we'll be there in the truck this next race. And then I'm doing the ARCA race in the fall. So I have those circled on my calendar, repeats this year, and then places I've raced before, I think is where we'll have the best chance of success.
Okay. Well, again, I'm super excited for you. Jay, did you have any other questions for Patrick?
No, it's not a question, but I will say this, and I know you're talking about some more races and all, and juggling your schedule. If you're ever traveling back to Houston area and come through Jackson, Mississippi, and want to get in a dirt car at Jackson Motor Speedway, I know some people. I promise I'll get you in a car, and as the announcer, I can promise I'll talk good about you if you ever have that opportunity or desire. By all means, no, it's great. I'm so excited for you. Whatever you can get, and we'll be tracking with you, and hopefully we can have you on here at Fan for Racing again. Good luck. I mean, and it was great to see. I felt like you did do a really great job this weekend. Like I said, it's Martinsville, so surviving is sometimes the case. Now you're talking about Talladega coming up. Best of luck with that. I didn't know if you had any super speedway experience or not.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm hoping I'll tap into that 2015 Daytona knowledge that I had, and it'll apply this year. But no, I appreciate it, guys. It's always a pleasure being on the show with y'all, and keep you posted all throughout the year. I'd love to be back on.
Okay, well, we'll definitely keep you in mind. Patrick, you're giving me motivation. My brother and I've been talking about going to Kansas Speedway, so I just might make it out there if I know you're going to be racing. Yep. So I'd be able to see you in person. Huh?
Cool. No, let me know. We'll get together. That'd be great.
That would be great. So Patrick, again, we're so thankful that you're able to come on the show with us tonight and give us some insights and into what's going to happen this season. I know a lot of people will be looking forward to seeing you. And you are based out of Houston?
Yep, correct. I'm Houston, Texas now, South Florida native, but living in Houston and then traveling all over the place for these races. So yeah, dream come true this year and trying to make it happen. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. And I do want to tell everybody, we do have more coming up tonight. Jay and I are going to be back again for Hot Topic Sound Off at 9:00. We're doing a live stream. And Martinsville always leads into some very interesting hot topics. So stay tuned for that. We will do our Hot Topic Sound Off tonight. It is a live stream at 9 p.m. Eastern, or 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. And we'll look forward to having Chris Crichton with us. Another track announcer will be joining us for that conversation. And then later on this week, we'll do all the previews for the races that are coming up at Darlington. So stay tuned for all of that. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.